Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Lovetarian Way. I am Natalia PH and I am a Lovetarian. Welcome everybody. I'm so glad that you have decided to come here and take part in the premiere of the Lovetarian Way on this beautiful platform. I'm so grateful to Richard for inviting me here. Oh, hello. I see that people are coming in. Millie, thank you so much for your kind words. We're so really pleased that we got together and I am here now. And it's such a privilege to be talking to a wider audience, new audience, very exciting for me. I'm Polish, I'm Natalia PH, and that's for Natalia Przybylska-Hansson. It's very complicated, so good luck to you trying to pronounce that name. And I'm going to be talking to you about the vision and mission of the Lovetarian Way. It is something that came to me during very deep trances, meditations, and it happened over many years. When I turned 44 years old, actually, I got a vision. I got the vision when I was floating in the field of, well, I call it Divine Mother, Source. And I was in that field and I felt love, absolute and unconditional love. And when I was there, I felt that this is my true nature. In fact, being a Lovetarian, I believe everybody is. At their source, they are. And then I got my marching orders from that source, from my guides, whatever you want to call it. You know, names are actually not that important. I got the call to invite people that are Lovetarians to the platform that I'm going to create. And I called that platform the Lovetarian Way podcast. And I've been broadcasting for the last 8 months. And Richard saw one of those shows and said, well, okay, it might be a good idea to have it on our platform. So thank you, Richard. And today I have actually invited a fantastic guest who is my friend, who is actually, well, my brother, spiritual brother from the mystery school with the Sophia Code. That's one of the modalities that I have been practicing for quite some time. He is a doctor of metaphysics. Merlin is actually going to talk to you about how you can empower yourself by taking 100% responsibility for your life. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, by all means, please ask us, please. Just don't be shy, because we are here for you. We are here to serve, and it's going to be our pleasure to answer any questions you might have. You know, another thing I would like to say is that when I was floating in that field of consciousness, of source, of God, whatever you want to call it, again, the names are not that important. I received what I called later on 4 pillars of the Lovetarian Way. And those 4 pillars, so it happens that they are very similar to what Merlin, our guest, had been receiving as well. He called it something else. And it appeared that a lot of guests that I had on my podcast, they had their own pillars and principles that they received from their spirit guides, from angels, from source, whatever you want to call it. And they are all very, very similar. And they all guide us to live the Lovetarian Way, to live guided by the higher power and really being a person, the best person that you can be, okay? So the pillars told me or guided me to take 100% responsibility for my life. And what does that mean? That means that we cannot control the big world out there, but we can control where we invest our thoughts. And there are huge fields of energy that exist in the world, and one of this energy field is energy of fear, and the other one is energy of love. And then you get to choose which energy you're going to align with. Merlin and I, we have definitely chosen to align with love, and the more you do that, the better person you can become. And since everything in this beautiful source energy quantum field is connected, when you are acting like a Lovetarian, when you are speaking like a Lovetarian, when you're thinking like a Lovetarian and feeling like one, you start to get a wonderful feedback. So obviously, when I got that vision during meditations, I started to act like that. And wonderful things started to happen to me. And that's what we want to tell you. If you are going to live like that more and more consciously, making choices that are grounded in love, unconditional love first to yourself and then to others, you are going to have a wonderful life filled with magic and miracles. And you will go on a quantum journey within yourself, with to your heart, and your heart will start speaking to you louder and louder, and it will guide you. And your life will become magical. You will live as though everything is miracle. Marianne Williamson actually said that miracle is a shift of perception from fear to love. And if you are guided by love, things will start aligning. You know, I could talk about it forever. So if you have any questions, just ask us. And I'm going to now present my guest, and we will talk about the pillars. We'll talk about his pillars. We'll talk about his amazing book that he recently published. And yeah, we'll have a conversation, and we're very, very happy to answer any questions that you might have. So thank you so much. Without further ado, here is my guest, Dr. Merlin Pickston, author of Awaken and Journey to Your True Self. Welcome, Merlin.
Hi, Natalia.
Hello.
So amazing to be here this evening.
Yeah, we are very happy to be here. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Merlin, tell us a little bit about your journey of awakening, how it happened for you, and well, how do you see the Lovetarian Way in alignment with what you're doing?
So my awakening, well, I guess I kind of always been awake for most of my life, but I had a real big shift that happened for me in the early 2000s when I just started reading everything possible that was available on anything that was anything to do with spiritualism or books written by psychics and what have you. I'm very keen to kind of further develop my own psychic abilities. And then it kind of moved forward, and it's really interesting because my awakening has been aligned with events that happened in my life. So you were talking about kind of you had this vision at the age of 44 and these things happened to you. And, you know, I had some very kind of traumatic things happen in my life. My late wife became very poorly, and that actually triggered, believe it or not, a big part of my awakening, because having to kind of pull myself away from the kind of traditional way of living that the society has been built up to be, and then to be in a situation where then I'm having to sort of take care of my wife and, you know, make sure that she's okay and what have you. And it was extremely challenging. What that did was that actually developed my abilities. It developed my awakening, my perception of how my life was, and really enabled me to practice on a day-by-day basis some of the things which I needed to do in terms to personally develop as a person. So all of those things kind of happened, and then in 2016 you mentioned the Sophia Code earlier. So the Sophia Code was published, and I actually got the Sophia Code as a recommendation from a very dear friend of mine. He said to me, "You've really got to read this codex," and that was a real trigger for me in terms of a massive spiritual awakening from that point on. And it was almost like 100-mile-an-hour stuff. Through that period of time, my psychic and mediumship abilities really grew and developed, and then started being able to do readings and seeing clients and what have you. And then in early 2020, I was guided by my guides to start writing a book. They told me that there was going to be this huge global awakening, that there was going to be so many people who were going to need guidance, people that potentially had not been previously on a spiritual path, but that they would be awakened and would need kind of understanding. And they told me that there was an awful lot of information out there. There was an awful lot of spiritual jargon that people use in the spiritual community. And so they said to me, you need to write something that's really simple, that's easy for people to understand, a really easy guide to help them when they first awaken. And so, yep, that's how the book came about and was published in June last year.
Perfect. And can you show the book? Do you have it?
I certainly do, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a little clear. It's awaken a little bit farther from the other way. Awaken. Yeah, perfect. Okay, awaken and journey to your true self. And you have a beautiful phoenix there. You know, when the audience can look behind me, I have a butterfly behind me, and we have the same alignment, right? The water and fire. For me, during my vision, it represented our creative self, that when it comes here, it needs to balance the energy, its own energies, to be able to function, the divine feminine, divine masculine. All the wounds through lifetimes need to be healed by the power of water, fire, get grounded here. And this is the same vision you had, different animal, but something similar, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, almost the same. I mean, that information came through so strongly, that this was all about balance. It was mind, body, and spirit balance, masculine and feminine balance. Obviously, the phoenix, is the new person kind of rising from the ashes. So, yeah, it was all of those things. Absolutely.
And, oh, did you hear me? Yeah, there's just a little disturbance there. Yeah. Well, I don't see any comments. People, if you are here with us, please. Yes. Yes, I would definitely like to say some hellos. I see Mili, I see Joachim, I know Mona is here, I know Ragnar is here, so hello, hello. Sheena Lightheart, good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Lovely. Mick, good evening. Yes, we're definitely so happy that you came. Christian, Norberto, I hope I'm pronouncing your names correctly. Hello, hello. So happy that you are here. Oh, beautiful butterflies, Pamela. Thank you so much. Hello, good evening, Krish. Could you maybe tell us, guys, where you're from? That would be nice to know. Virtual hugs to you, Barbara. Yeah, it would be nice to know where you guys from. Hello, Joanne. Hello, hello. Oh, lovely comments. I love the little icons. Claire, hello. Where are you from? Yeah, I am in Spain, and Merlin, you're in England, right?
That's right.
Okay. Joy. Okay, great. So anybody that is here, from my heart to yours. Yes, Joy. Zanalia. Emilia. Natalie, hello, my namesake. Mesha. Katerina. Chrissy. Celia. Donna. Paul. Allison. Anne. Sam. And Amanda. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. Please, please, please tell us where you're from. And welcome, welcome, Lovetarians. I'm pretty sure you're also Lovetarians, because we all are. You know, during the vision that I had, oh, hello, Millie. Oh, there's a question. How can we build our, oh, yes, we'll definitely address that in a Q&A session, if you don't mind, Millie. Now we're just going to jam a little bit with Merlin, and then we'll definitely answer all your questions, if that's all right. Thank you so much for asking the question.
That is such a great question, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah,
it is.
fab.
You know, let me just say that when I was in the field, right, when I was floating and I got that vision, I felt that self-love is a must. Anita Morgiani wrote a great book about it, Dying to Be Me. She actually died, she had a near-death experience, and she experienced absolute and total unconditional love. And she knew she was actually sick, she had cancer. When she came back, she was healed. I was not sick when I had my visions, but I was obviously troubled. You know what? The Lovetarian Way helped me with 22 years of eating disorder. I had a cancer diagnosis as well, near financial ruin, broken hearts. Now I'm married to my soulmate for almost 20 years. I love you, Joachim. So, you know, all this helped me. How about you, Merlin? Hello, Mary.
There's lots of people there. Just before I answer that question, there were people from all over kind of
Yeah,
UK, including Scotland, and also somebody from South Africa, which is fabulous to
amazing,
have people on
amazing.
there. Yeah, great. So, I mean, for me, yeah, I mean, the trauma that I went through in relation to my wife had, several strokes, and then she had cancer, and it was medical negligence, and so all of these things came together, and the only way that I kind of coped with caring for her and all of everything that we went through was through this whole process of, self-love and taking care of myself, and so I could take care of her. I mean, it was an essential element, and I think a lot of people pay lip service for carers who say, oh, you need to take care of yourself, and actually it's so vitally important, because then you can do such a much better job of taking care of somebody if someone is looking after someone.
Absolutely. One of my favorite teachers, Byron Katie, she calls this business of self-love, your business 24/7. She actually says there are three businesses in the world: your business, God's business, and somebody else's business. And our business 24/7 is to love ourselves unconditionally. How would you say, Merlin, how to do that? I mean, one-on-one, how do I love myself truly and absolutely?
For me, I feel like there are layers to self-love, because there are so many aspects of ourselves, and unfortunately, the life that a lot of people live, they kind of are so in a situation where they're so busy all the time. Busy with families, busy with work, and so there is a struggle to actually be able to stop and take time to actually understand what's personally going on with us. So the kind of the first layer, and this links kind of to my pillars really, is about raising personal awareness and observing yourself in your life. So how am I reacting to other people? How am I feeling? Often our emotions, our feelings, we'll get a glimpse of it, and then they're suppressed because we're too busy, because we've got to go and do something or be somewhere. And so to really be aware of what's going on and how we are interacting and reacting with the people around us, particularly people who are very close to us. So for me, that's kind of the first stage and the first level to working towards self-love, is to really get to understand and know yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Actually, the topic of we have chosen with Merlin, we had a chat, we have decided that topic of this conversation is going to be empower yourself by taking 100% responsibility. And the first pillar I have received was taking 100% responsibility for your life. For me, it meant that I can't control life at large, but I can control how I'm going to think, how I'm going to act, how I'm going to speak, and how I'm going to embrace certain emotions. And when you do that, it's actually a conscious choice. When you bring consciousness to the unconscious, things happen. Merlin, what do you say to that?
Oh, absolutely agree. I mean, the process. I mean, my two pillars, the first two pillars that I have in my book, which is the 7 pillars of personal change, are all about bringing the subconscious to the conscious. Because it is about making us aware of what's going on with us, and interesting, the whole taking responsibility for our own lives. So interestingly, society sets it up that actually we don't do that. Someone else, it's so easy to blame other people, or to be in a situation where, we can't do this because, well, that's this person's fault, or it's somebody at work, or it's this, or it's that. And part of the process of taking responsibility is to go, okay, so if I'm responsible for myself and my actions, then even if someone else is behaving in a bad way, then it's up to me how I respond to that person if they're behaving badly. And that's taking responsibility for yourself. You're not responsible for their behavior. You're only responsible for your own behavior and your own response or reaction back.
Absolutely. Oh, hello, Amanda. Enjoy bathing your grandson. That's cool. I'm sure it's enjoyable. On the note that you just said, that it brings me back to practicing for many years ancient Hawaiian practice called Hoponopono. I'm sure this beautiful spiritual audience is very familiar with Hoponopono, but if not, we can give you the mantra again. This is a fantastic practice that you can really, it can help you take responsibility for your life totally and completely. So when the mantra was given to the Hawaiian people, it was basically given to them in 4 sentences. People take 100% responsibility for their life by saying, please forgive me. And they say, please forgive me to this field of consciousness. They say it to God, to source. They don't say it to anybody else. It is a business between you and God. It's direct connection. So they say, please forgive me. And what do they ask forgiveness for? Just the unconscious. Right? Unconscious, subconscious, stuff that they don't know, the darkness that travels with us through generations. So they say, please forgive me. Then they say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, asking for, release of that energy. And they say, thank you, giving gratitude in advance. And they say, I love you. And they just repeat it. I have been using this for years. And you know what, Merlin? It helped me overcome issues with people. I didn't even have to speak to people. I was doing the cleaning and clearing, Hoponopono, clearing within myself. And that helped resolve issues with others. Have you had such experiences?
I have. It's amazing how, we kind of hold on to all sorts of things, and often things we don't even know. And now it's kind of so much easier, because when you that act of forgiveness is so important. I mean, and even, I use self-forgiveness so much, because there are things that you don't even realize that you've done, or that that you've done, and then carry shame for. And so you can turn around and say, well, I forgive myself for that. Should we look at Millie?
Exactly. I'm looking at that.
Yeah, Millie's comment.
Go for it, Merlin.
So I feel like I give out a lot of love always, but don't feel positive inside myself much. Is this why I attract such negative people? Because I don't love myself enough yet? That's a really great question. I mean, if you don't mind, Natalia, I'll kind of respond.
No, please.
You might want to kind of add to that. Yeah. So, yes, it's wonderful to give out a lot of love, and I think that's such a positive thing to do to everybody, and really beautiful. But yeah, for me, it has to start within. It has to start for yourself, because if you have negative thoughts about yourself, or you don't feel good about yourself, into the kind of the psychic atmosphere, you're actually putting that message out to other people, and it sort of connects to the law of attraction in a big way. So if you're putting out negative thoughts or what have you, then that's what you're going to attract back into your life. So being able to have a much more positive impact on your words and your thoughts and the things that's going on within you, and will have a much better kind of impact in your outer reality.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you, Merlin. Millie, I would actually like to now bring the pillar 2 that I received, that actually tells us to embrace oneness. We are one energy. And what does that mean? If you are receiving negative impact from that field, in a way, it is a law of mirrors. We are one energy. So these people, the negative people, they might show you the parts within you that you are still working on. And if you need time for yourself, yes, you can distance yourself from these people. But the fact is, as Merlin said, the stuff is still within you at the unconscious level or even subconscious level. You might not even be aware why that happens. But I'm sure you've heard of women, for example. Sometimes they have different relationships with different people, yet it's the same relationship pattern that repeats itself over and over again, because the partner is mirroring to us what is not yet healed within us. It's not our fault, nothing to do with fault, nothing to do with feeling bad about it. It is just a feedback from the field, what we still are working on. And that's what I got when I received the second pillar. It was all about, we are one being, and all the people around us are showing us in which place of the journey we are at this moment. And it's all good. What do you say to that, Merlin?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And you made, so I really want to pick up on a couple of really great things that you said there. One is that it's not our fault, because actually part of the negative cycle that you can be in is that when you realize that those things are happening and that you're bringing those, potentially attracting those things into your life, it's so easy to then go, oh, well, I'm really bad at this, or I'm not very good at this, or what have you. And that all it does is reinforce those negative patterns. So it's really important not to blame yourself for these things, and just kind of put yourself in a situation to go, okay, so if that's what it's mirroring to me, then what can I do about it? And so, you know, brings me to kind of my third pillar, which is making sense. So once you are more aware of things, then my third pillar of the 7 pillars of personal change are to make sense of what it is that is actually going on. I mean, that can be something that you actually journal or write down and make a note of, so you can really understand what the patterns are in your life. And so it helps to really put things into perspective, I think.
Yes, no, definitely. Yeah. And Millie, if I may suggest to practice Hoponopono, just put a hand on your heart, take some deep breaths, and just say, I love you. I really, really love you. And thank you for this feedback. Please forgive me for whatever unconscious parts of my consciousness are coming to light now. And thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm so sorry. And remember, it has nothing to do with you feeling bad, guilty, nothing like that. It is a clearing and cleaning process.
Yeah, definitely.
And thank you for the question.
It's such
hello, Merle, how do we say Siobhan? Hello, Siobhan.
Hi, Siobhan, yeah.
And Joanna. Oh, let's see here what Joanna says. Would you agree taking this from your life? Merlin, you want to read that one?
Would you agree taking the lessons from your life and ridding yourself of the emotions that surround the lessons, letting yourself free of the bitterness? Wow. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. When you put things into perspective and you realize that things are lessons, and so if you kind of really understand what the lesson was, and then you can kind of go, right, okay, thank you, I'm really grateful for the lesson that I've learned here, and how it can empower me in my life to move forward, and use it in my everyday life and with my interactions with the people around me, then it really does free you from any sort of bitterness or negativity that you might feel around it. Even if you've had a really traumatic experience, and being able to put it into perspective and go, well, what did I learn from it? What was it? What were the key things that came out of this? And then doing those things, using gratitude, using forgiveness, is just really, really powerful things to do that. Yes. And I actually put both gratitude and forgiveness practices in my book.
Yeah, no, beautiful. And that takes us to pillar 3, actually, of the Lovetarian Way, because I got this message, like Einstein said, you can live as though everything is a miracle or like nothing is. And through those lessons that Joanna is talking about, actually, no matter what they are, whether they are what we think it's negative or it's something horrible happened, there is a miracle there. There is magic in that. Whatever happens, there is magic there. But we need to choose to live as though everything that happens for us as a lesson. Okay, that's a very conscious, awakened living. But that's what we're talking about here. This Lovetarian way of living, what you're teaching, Merlin, it's this quantum inner journey to your source, where you are willing, just as Joanna says, where you're willing to look at mistakes, everything that happens as lessons of growth. And you can expand your wings like this butterfly on my logo. In my vision, I saw us from a little sparks of light, we were expanding. As embodied beings, we come into the body and we're expanding and we're growing, right? So yes, when you embrace love and you say, okay, this is happening for me, bitterness will just be gone. You will heal yourself with the medicine of love.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, and in fact, what's so beautiful about what you just said is that, you know, when you do clear those things, you do clear then some of the negativity, you do clear the bitterness, and you're looking at everything, you know, as kind of thank you for showing me, thank you for guiding me, that thank you for my understanding. What it does is it opens up more space within you to receive more love. I mean, and to receive more positive things. I mean, when you're clearing out that stuff, you've got space. I mean, it's just infinite, and yeah, it's just beautiful, really beautiful.
Yeah, oh, it's beautiful. And actually, you know, that takes us to my fourth pillar. You have more than four. But it's all about embracing the Lovetarian nourishment. And what is the primary form of nourishment, everybody? What is the primary form of nourishment? Come on, give it to me. Tell me. Anybody? Merlin?
Well, I would say energy.
Well, I would say breathing. In this human body, breath, right? We know you can live without food, you can live without water, but if you're not breathing, within a few minutes, you're going to be out. I'm talking, of course, about the nourishment of this body temple, right? So the fourth pillar is about embracing the Lovetarian nourishment, breathing what? Consciously, right? Consciously. Yeah. It's not about shallow breathing of modern society. Taking on, you know what, everybody in Scotland, South Africa, anybody, let's take 3 conscious breaths, in on 5 through your nose and out on 5. Let's do that. Close your eyes, put your hands on your heart, and let's take 3 conscious breaths. I'm going to be quiet now. Count to 5 as you breathe in, and breathe out on 5. Do it again. And one more time. Beautiful.
Really beautiful. And it looks like Sheena's made a comment here. She says, yeah. I've always treated people the way I want to be treated myself, but I feel friends use me.
Beautiful. But I'm gonna just say beautiful, and then you go, and then I'll continue after.
So absolutely wonderful that you're kind of treating people the way that you want to be treated. When you don't get treated well back, or you feel like you're being used, again, this is kind of giving you a lesson. So for me, this is a little bit about boundaries, and there is a connection to self-love here, because this is about being able to turn around and go, this behavior is acceptable from somebody and this isn't acceptable. And when we accept behavior that you know, it doesn't feel right, or you know like she said, you know, feels like people use you, then that's an issue of you know, self-respect and self-esteem. So it's a little bit like being able to go, okay, so I'm treating this person this way, but they're not doing it back. So what do I now need to say to them in a given situation when they don't treat me well? What do I need to say to them that says, I'm sorry, but that's really not acceptable. I don't deserve to be treated like that. And setting boundaries in those relationships is really important, because if we just let it go and allow people to do that, they think it's okay. And
absolutely.
it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Merlin, and thank you, Sheena. Beautiful question. First of all, I want to thank you that you are embracing golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That is so in alignment with second pillar. Actually, that's what I also was very strongly receiving. And when people do not give you the feedback, well, it's like Merlin said, the boundaries are key, because what you tolerate, you give others permission to perpetuate, right? So it is actually a call to you embracing your inner power. Say, hold on, I don't accept that, right? And you can communicate, you know, actually a lot of people might think that being Lovetarian is being a sort of a pushover. I have those conversations with people. Everything but being a pushover. You're very strong in your power, you're grounded, you know who you are source consciousness, and you love yourself and you radiate that feeling. And actually, wouldn't you say, Merlin, that you repel those people that try to attack you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you're
Thank you,
putting
Sam.
out,
We'll take
yeah,
that
well,
one.
yeah, it's a really great question, which we'll
Yeah.
come to. Yeah, um, when you push out and those positive thoughts out to people, when you are sending that positive energy, you're psychically, because we all communicate psychically. I mean, whether people think that they've got psychic abilities or not, everybody does, and everybody communicates psychically. And when we're picking up that information from one another, then it's a really strong thing that you can do to actually repel anything coming back to you, because you're almost putting this barrier between you and them that says, no, I'm sorry, but this behavior is not acceptable, and if you're going to do that, I'm going to push back against you. So yeah, I definitely agree. Should we come to...
Sheena has a follow-up here.
Oh yeah.
That this person calls her a drama queen. What a great challenge, isn't it, Sheena, to stand up for yourself? Yeah, Merlin?
But her calling Sheena a drama queen is all about her and not about Sheena. I mean, this is because this person is obviously being controlling or manipulative in some way, and so actually they're just using that in potentially, I'm guessing, Sheena, maybe in an aggressive kind of way, to kind of make you submit and go, no, I'm not going to say anything, because then you start questioning yourself and going, well, am I a drama queen? Am I overseeing it? Is it me? And that's where self-awareness is really important, where you go, actually, no, this is the reality of the situation. And often when people behave like that, they're also hitting a trigger in someone. So if you get triggered by her calling you a drama queen, it would be worth probably exploring why that's a trigger for you.
Beautiful. I will actually go into Hoponopono again, because you know what? I had many situations when I had clients, even in Australia, I'm in Spain, in Australia, in America, somewhere, and they would trigger me. They would say something mean, or they would be, yeah, whatever. There were issues. Before I spoke to these people, I took sometimes even several hours to just journal, do Hoponopono, take 100% responsibility for that comment, for that situation showing up in my life. And believe me when I tell you, when I did the cleaning and clearing, oftentimes I would have received an email from them before even me taking any action with these people. I did the cleaning within myself, and the situation cleared. Straight facts. That's what happened. So I hope that helps. Maybe we take the question with the animals now. I don't eat animals, so I so relate.
No, nor do I.
Could you show that, Richard, that question about the animals? Okay. From Sam? Thank you, Sam.
So from Sam, how can I stop my negative behavior towards people who hurt animals? It's one thing I cannot get past.
I'm with you.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think what it brings up in us, it brings up what I call it righteous anger.
Yeah.
That righteous anger makes you feel like you really want to do something, and understandably can actually bring up those negative kind of behavioral thoughts around what you'd like to do to somebody who's treating animals badly. This is a challenging thing to kind of get your head around. For me, I would be looking at what action can I take that's very, very positive. That's very positive, rather than going into the kind of the negativity and the things that that you'd like to do to that person. Is there anything that you can do positively to help that animal, to help other animals? I mean, I would be looking at it from that way. I guess if it's happening a lot as well, why is it? Why what you said, Natalia? Why is it showing up in Sam's life? Is there an action or something that Sam needs to do to actually kind of make that not show up so much in life? It's about challenging your own kind of what's going on for you in your life. I mean, is it a purpose in your life perhaps that you need to go and do something to help animals in a much deeper way? Because sometimes these things come across as messages from guides or from the universe that say, this is something that you need to look at in your life and do something positive rather than just having kind of the negative feelings.
Yeah, thank you, Merlin. Thank you, Sam, for this question. You know what is coming to me? Remember Ascended Master Jesus, what he said, forgive them for they know not what they do, and bring the light of compassion. Compassion is being called in here very strongly, I believe. So maybe it would be very helpful, of course, to do Hoponopono on yourself, because Merlin said it is showing up in your life for a reason. What we could also recommend, I believe, from our mystery school would be the mantra of compassion. So you can be a compassionate witness to this situation, and you will heal within yourself whatever it is that is going on within you. And by the time you are able to address these people, maybe you are looking at them in a totally different light. Merlin, would you like to tell Sam that mantra of Kuan Yin, Ascended
Oh,
Master
Kuan
Kuan
Yin's
Yin?
mantra. So Om
Yeah.
Mani Padme Hum. Om
Om Mani
Mani
Padme
Padme
Hum.
Hum. It's
You
so
go.
healing. It is so healing. And it's really interesting because the other thing, of course, that you can actively do, which is to actually send both the animal and the person doing
Yes.
it love. Because when you send them love, you go, bless you, I'll send you love. If that love that they receive can diminish the anger or the anything that is causing them to do an animal harm, that has a very, because you're sending them energy, and it's amazing. I've done it. I've been around in a supermarket and there's people who've been annoyed, and I just send them love. And when you send them love, it's amazing how all of a sudden the anger seems to kind of calm and dissipate and be a lot better. So that's definitely something else as well.
Thank you. And there is a beautiful ancient practice where you're in a situation that you don't like and it's causing you pain, like this situation clearly do, and it would meet as well. You send blessing, you bless yourself for witnessing the situation. You bless the animal, like Merlin said, and you bless the person that hurt them. Yes, you bless them. You need to bless them because they will receive it at the subconscious deep level. We are all Lovetarians. People, we are consciously awakening to the fact that we are made of love. We are Lovetarians, but these people, they're completely unconscious. They're completely unconscious, and they don't, maybe the souls have chosen not to awaken. Maybe they are doing those cruel acts because that's just for them to awaken. Merlin, are humans not really silly that we are awakening through suffering most of the time?
Yeah, and isn't it really sad that actually we realize that you don't need to suffer. We don't actually need to suffer, and when we talk about awakening, we're just really returning to our true selves. I mean, that's why I called the book my Awakening Journey to Your True Self. Oh, bless you, Sam. Yes,
Yeah,
please
thank you so
do.
much.
That's lovely. Well, and so sorry about he was saying that Sam was saying that, I don't know whether that's a lady or a man, but he was saying that they had to bury pets when they were younger and stuff like that. So,
Well, but thank you so much for doing that.
Send you lots of love, because that's a really hard thing to do when you love animals so much.
Yes. And I would just reiterate, if you feel like taking action, before you take action as a human, please do the clearing and cleaning, because you will be in a much better place to take the inspired action as opposed to desperate action. There's a huge vibrational difference between desperate acts and inspiration. Right?
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're coming from your heart space instead of your mind. And this is the difference between acting from ego and acting from your higher self. And so that's why that clearing is so important. So,
Phoenix, wow, what a powerful question. Thank you. Merlin, go.
how about when someone takes themselves out of the
this
world? What is the lesson in that for me? So I assume that they're talking about suicide here.
Yeah.
So I see things from first of all, if we kind of look at it from a higher perspective. So everyone has a soul contract that we make before we come here. We have the life lessons planned out for us that we decide that we want to do, and often part of those lessons, somebody will choose to be in a situation where, let's say, you've got parents and there's a child, and perhaps that child dies young or commits suicide. But that's actually something, an experience that has been chosen to experience in life. Because that's part of the soul's evolution, to learn what that's like and how to handle and deal with it. And that can be obviously, an awful thing when you're dealing with the shock and what have you. So, when you're thinking about what's the lesson for me if someone has committed suicide in your life, is that, what is it that got them to be in a situation where they were so low that they felt they couldn't move on? What circumstances were around? And how does that mirror in your own life? Are there things which you can improve about your life as a lesson for what that person could get from in their own life? By seeing things from a positive perspective, by seeing the glass half full rather than half empty. And any of those things can be lessons. I think it's also about just kind of making sure that you're also challenging your beliefs, and that's actually pillar 4 of my pillars. Challenging beliefs is really important here. About going, well, do you have some unconscious belief here about what has happened as a result of someone committing suicide? And so looking at our beliefs is a very powerful thing to do, because often underneath a behavior, underneath a lesson in our life or a mirroring that is being shown to us, there's an unconscious belief that we believe about circumstances, the world, ourselves. And those unconscious beliefs rule the way that we behave often. And so bringing them from the subconscious to the conscious can be a very powerful thing to do to help you in your own healing and your own spiritual development.
Absolutely. Thank you, Merlin. Thank you, Phoenix, for that beautiful question. I know it might be hurtful because I've worked with people who had similar experiences here. And what really helped them was reading a lot about it that is written in books by Richard Schwartz. He wrote Your Soul's Plan, Your Soul's Gift. He talked to thousands of people, mediums, people who've been to the other side and came back. And he's also talking a lot about the reasons why people decide to leave. I'm with Merlin here that I believe we all have a moment when our soul decides to go. And whether you want to do something about it or you don't, if it's the time of that person to leave, they shall leave. I have no idea what your relationship with that person was. It might be so that it's a acceptance lesson for you there. It might be so that you need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. I have no idea because we don't have a context. If you want to give us more context, please do, then we'll go deeper. But I definitely recommend the books, Your Soul's Plan, Your Soul's Gift, that go deep into that specific topic. They are super empowering. So please reach out. I will invite the author to this talk one day as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's actually saying, what if you don't know the reason they committed suicide? And I mean, obviously, the not knowing is often kind of the hardest thing, because we're trying to kind of rationalize, why on earth somebody would do such a thing. Again, this is about, we're going back to what you were saying at the beginning about you can't control what goes on outside of yourself. You can only control what's going on within you. And so, I think, Natalia, you're absolutely right, having that level of acceptance around that it was their time to leave, and as tragic as the circumstances may have been, that they're okay. They're back over on the other side, and they're fine. And so how focus on that, how you can heal. Is it, Natalie, how you can heal from the situation, because they're absolutely fine.
Yes, absolutely. And we have been conditioned by society that we are so attached as humans to other humans. The fact is that even the children that you think are your children, they're actually not your children. They come through you, and your job is to witness their evolution, to provide for them and let them go, because they have their own path. that they need to travel. It's like with butterfly. If you're going to help butterfly to open its wings, you will actually damage, if not kill, the butterfly. And that's how it is with humans. We need to respect that everybody has their own journey and they're in different levels of evolutionary path. It might even be so that you had a contract with a person, and in previous life, or actually up in heaven, at source, you've agreed that I'm going to leave, I'm going to commit suicide, and you are going to heal from that. It might have been a pre-soul agreement, but what do we know? We don't know. So there, Merlin, maybe it would be a very good idea now to say, because you are a psychic medium, to teach people how you teach people to be their own psychics, to go within themselves, to find the answers.
Yeah, I mean, the part of the coaching, that I do, and this is again another one of our shared kind of things that we do, Natalia, is that it's about, when you believe in our sovereign divinity, when you believe that we are all that oneness, that we're all one, and so that we all have that spark of source within us, you then begin to understand that we're all equal. We're all equal. And when you understand that we're all equal, we're then in a situation where you will go, okay, so if we're all equal, it means that everyone has the ability and the capacity to be their own guru, to be their own psychic, to be their own guide, because the best answers come from within. The best answers come from our higher self. Our higher self knows our soul contract. They know the reasons why everything happened. They know what our life lessons are, and they are the one who are our best guide to be able to guide us. So being able to be in a situation where you can actually connect with your higher self and receive that guidance, receive those messages, is the path that I take people on. And so working through, I work through the 7 pillars because, they're raising awareness, observation, making sense, challenging beliefs, and then deciding to make changes. Then you go into testing new ways and then adopting new ways, and it's a cyclical process. So when people then become much more aware, they recognize where their feelings are. They recognize what is their ego and what is their intuition, what is the guidance. The guidance always comes through the intuition, comes through the heart. And so the guidance from your guides or from your higher self comes in that way. And when you start to trust in that guidance and take action in your life based on that guidance, your ego settles down a little bit and goes, oh, well, this is not so bad. That actually went quite well, because the ego is there to protect you. It's there to protect the body. It's there to take care of you. But the problem is that we're often, most people are in a fight or flight situation almost on a permanent basis. And so the ego is potentially always wanting to protect. And so we go into fear instead of love. And so, absolutely, that pillar of yours is love. So when you focus and do everything from love, and you then listen to your guidance, your intuition, it's your higher self guiding you, and it's trusting to see it through without your ego getting in the way and stopping you. Absolutely. And that's the path that I take people on, and as you go through that path, there are layers. So there are layers of healing, there are layers of things that we go through, and it's a journey, not a destination.
Absolutely. It is a journey of forever awakening and growing deeper and deeper in understanding. And I always ask, how is this for me? What is there for me to learn? What is there for me to hear? And it helps. And as you say, Merlin, intuition is the tuition from within. We just need to get quiet, get present. Meditation is a must. Every single day, meditation with intention, right? Carol, thank you for your question. Let's see what we have here. Okay, can you guide me to see a path forward? I have lost my husband 7 years ago and a partner 3 months ago. Wow, Carol. And Melvin.
Okay, so I'm probably the perfect person to
answer this. Yes, you
question.
are. Yes, Merlin.
So I can fully empathize, because my wife passed away last August, and I completely understand what it's like to go through the grief and the loss and the missing and all of the things that that entails. So all I can do really is kind of tell you how I'm coping with it and what I'm doing. First of all, it was an acceptance for me that it was my wife's time to leave, that she had completed, I call it her graduation. So she graduated from Earth, and I have the absolute total and utter knowing deep within me that she's on the other side and that she's absolutely fine, and she's now kind of fully well and healed and getting on with whatever she was doing in her life before she came here. So part of those things and that deep knowing that I have inside me helps me to be okay with it, to make the loss a little easier. I think the hardest thing is around getting through the day-to-day stuff, when you've got the reminders around you that there are things that you're in your life and you used to do everything as a couple. It used to be the two of you. I mean, writing Christmas cards, I couldn't do it last year because I always used to write the two of our names, and I just thought I can't even bear to think about doing it. And so it gets easier. I know people say it gets easier over time, but that's my experience. It has got a little easier. It's been 6 months for me, and it hits me sometimes though. And a bereavement counsellor who's a friend of mine said to me, it's like the garden rake effect. You think you're doing okay, and then you're walking through the leaves, you don't see the rake, and it hits you in the forehead, and you have a moment. And I think you just have to work through all of those emotions, and you have to find yourself. If the one lady they were together 50 years, I think she said, and that's just it's such a long time to have a routine with somebody. So you've got to almost, it was
50 years.
Yeah, 50 years. You've got to find yourself. And I've started that process because I was consumed with caring for 8 years, and so I really lost who I was, because it was us and then caring and then nothing. And so part of what I'm doing in helping clients and doing these things with you, Natalia, is part of my healing. It's actively thinking, right, what can I do to help other people, and in turn it helps me, because it's part of the journey of being able to find yourself and really find your own identity again, and find out who you are, what you like, and what you don't like, and the things that you actually want to do, and getting out there and starting to do it. I started doing things too early and found it was all too much and too overwhelming. So you have to pace yourself and kind of go, well, yeah, I'm just going to try that, and I'm just going to try that, and just be very present with how you're feeling. And that the other thing I would say is, it's fine to cry. Just let it out. If you turn and you look at something that reminds you of that partner who's gone, just cry. Because I find if I was suppressing it for a while, and then it just made me ill. I ended up with a bad stomach, and back pain and neck pain and headache, and I'm like, this is crazy. Every time it happens, I just need to cry, and I need to release it, because every time I cry, every time I release it, it just gets that a little bit better.
Yes, no, I agree with you 100%. Everything has its time. You can just repeat to yourself that this too shall pass, and there's time for rest, there's time for healing. And if you need to take this time, you don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You need that time to heal, and then go out there and see how you can help others, because that is very healing by itself, isn't it? Yeah, my life was for a very long time. So of course. Yeah. That by itself must have been really very
I can probably address that as well, because my wife had 8 strokes, and then she recovered from breast cancer and went through all of the treatment for that as well. And so it's very challenging, and interestingly, your whole focus is on that other person during all of that time. You are focused on them, and the focus is not on you. And so when that ends, because everything has been about them, it just makes it even harder. And oh, bless her, she cried hard. I completely understand that, and I send you lots of love, because you know, it's really hard, and the only way through it, I think I cry my way through it. It's kind of the only way to cope. But one of the things I would say is that you have to also address not only the loss of your husband, but you need to also address all of that trauma. Watching him when he's had Parkinson's and dementia, you've watched him disappear for years, and the man that you married is no longer there. And so it's really hard. And plus you've had more lost your younger sister with COVID. Oh, bless you.
Sorry to hear that. Yes, but Merlin, don't you think it would be really very important for Melvin, that's how I say it, I believe, to truly take time and love herself now? Just be with that and cry, do things for yourself. Maybe speak to them. You know, when I lost people, I spoke to them for longest time, and I was journaling. And sometimes this automatic writing is like, do you have something you want to tell me? And my hands started to go. And I was writing, receiving messages. Try that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would also say that, you know, it's important because obviously, you know, we're giving spiritual guidance here and what have you, that, you know, if she's feeling really low, then, you know, do seek out some bereavement counselling, because,
of course, absolutely.
Because, you know, it can be, the professional bereavement counsellors are really great at kind of guiding you through the process of grief and helping you to understand how you're feeling, what you're feeling. So, you know, if you really are feeling that low, then do seek that out because it's important. And thank you, Joanne.
Thank you, Joanne. Here, yes. Thank you for support. Yeah, great. Do we have any? Do we have any more questions, Richard? Well, we're actually coming on to an hour. What shall we do then? Shall we go on? Okay, we're gonna tell you what's coming up now. Let's see. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for your questions. Amazing. So we have Live with Spirit at 8 p.m. and I don't see much of my screen. Free readings with different readers every week. Tonight. Anita, who is animal communicator. Yes. (10:30), Bree is coming tomorrow morning with Influencing Your Future Steps, tarot reading, mediumship healing. Yes, and she's doing reading as well. Yes. Awesome. Past life readings, yes. And last one is Bill Hughes with Collective Consciousness at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. That's it. Now we'll continue. What have we got? Oh, I know the audience doesn't hear, but I can hear Richard smiling and said there's lots. So that's good. Perfect first show. Thank you so much. Mary now. I have had people say that they find it hard to understand why some people do bad things to others and or animals. I tell them that to understand why you would be like them, just send good thoughts. Definitely. Forgive them. They know not, right, what they do. I mean, we are all fairly at the high level of consciousness and we are evolving, but a lot of people are not. They are still living completely unconsciously. And Merlin, would you say that a conscious awakening person would ever be able to be cruel? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't think so either. You know, I mean, but I think it's important to understand that it doesn't, even if you're a consciously aware person, you're awakened, you still get triggers and things still trigger you, but it's how you respond to that trigger that's kind of the important aspect that I guess sets consciously aware people apart from people who aren't. So Roy's asking a question here. So can karma be brought forward from a past life to this life? Now, that's an interesting question, isn't it?
Very.
So my perspective on karma is, yes, karma can be brought forward from a past life into this life. So often the life lessons that we have agreed to, or the soul contract that we've agreed to, may involve an element of repaying karma from a previous life, and so it's been built into that whole kind of life lessons and soul contract that we've been in. But I think the other aspect is that what we're finding is that with this current awakening, and at this point that we are, this pivotal time in history, is that a lot of people are coming here karma free as well. And actually we're here to witness others, and we're here to actually, be the people to show the way through our own conscious awareness and our own awakening.
Yeah, thank you for that. Actually, my next guest in 2 weeks, I believe I'm going to be coming bi-weekly, Jill Harrison. She is an avatar, really the highest level of mediumship, and archangel messenger. I mean, she's amazing. She talks about it a lot, and we had discussions about karma, and some people have thousands and thousands of lives, and they have to come back to earth many times because they just do not want to learn. So in my understanding of karmas, you will be having the same situation over and over and over again if you're not willing to listen to yourself, if you're not willing to learn and become better human being and evolve. So yeah, by that token, yes, you can bring it through many thousands of, well, actually everything happens in the now. In the quantum field, there is no past, there's no future. Simultaneously things are happening. Yeah, so you feel it's a past life, but it's actually happening right now. And if you heal in this lifetime, it will also influence your other incarnations. That's my understanding.
Yeah, totally. It totally will.
I hope that helps, Roy.
Yeah.
Alison, how can I improve my life when I'm so stubborn? I can relate, and find it hard to apologize for something I didn't do.
I think you should answer that question, Natalia.
Because I'm an Aries and a fire dragon. And my husband would say, oh yeah, this one has a strong mind. So stubborn, hard to apologize for something I didn't do. Again, I will talk about Hoponopono once again. First of all, don't have to apologize for anything, okay? You don't have, in my opinion, you don't have to apologize for anything until you come to a place where you are okay within yourself with whatever happened. If you're in a state where you can say, okay, I'm not feeling weird about it anymore, I'm not angry about it, nothing, because you've done your own healing within yourself, then you go and apologize. But don't do it just because you feel guilty or you feel pressured. No, that's not really evolved behavior. You need to do the work within yourself, and then you will see when you really reconcile within yourself what you have done, whatever that might have been, then you can communicate with another person. My general advice is do not get involved or engage with another person until you have some sort of reconciliation within yourself. What do you say about that, Merlin?
Oh, again, as I fully agree. I mean, it's the difference between reacting and responding for me.
Yes.
So, a reaction is an instant thing that we do that comes from, a state of trigger or what have you. And it's a little bit like, okay, so I'm not gonna react. I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna take stock. And I'm gonna sit there. I mean, Alison says, hard to apologize for something I didn't do. Well, if you didn't do it and you don't feel that you need to apologize, then and you sit there and you take responsibility for yourself, which is what we're,
Merlin,
the theme.
Responsibility, right? The word responsibility, it's actually your ability to respond to a situation, right?
Yeah, exactly. So when you take responsibility, you're then in a situation where you can think to yourself, okay, I don't have to apologize for that because it definitely wasn't anything to do with me. Or you might reflect and go, well, actually, if I might have triggered this or I might have done that, and you may feel actually no, an apology is necessary, like Natalia said, once you've done the work inside.
Yeah. Richard, what did you say? Say it again into my ear. Well, thank you. Maybe we should put you on speaker here. He says, it's a human nature to blame others. Yes, it is. But the work is within us, right? That's the whole premise of the Lovetarian Way and the work that we do, is that you need to reconcile within yourself. And what other people think about you, that's their problems, right? That's their perceptions. And remember, everything is a mirror. Maybe you just need, this is an evolution for you. You're going to become a better, bigger person and evolve within yourself. And then once you do, really, what other people will say, it will not matter whatsoever. Do you not find that, Merlin? So as happy as I am that we're having great feedback here and people asking questions, you know what? I'm just happy to do my work, and Merlin is happy to do the work and serve. And we are not really, whether you like us or you don't like us, well, whatever. That's your business, right? We're just happy to serve. Yeah. Exactly. And it's our privilege, it's our honor to be here to serve. I give love and show I'm wrong to do. What, Pamela? I give love and show. Am I wrong? No. You be the love girl.
Yeah, beautiful.
You be the love. Be the love and light. Be the Lovetarian. And do not expect that you will get love back from the same source. That's just not how it works. If it's conditional, that's not what we're talking about. Unconditional love. You just be you. Be your light. Let it shine. Let it radiate, and go about your business.
Yeah,
that's tough, right?
It is. But it comes in unexpected ways, and actually, those are the miracles and the magic that you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, that's exactly what happens. You know, you do one thing one way, and all of a sudden, something comes from another direction, and you go, "Wow, that's just amazing."
Remember that quote that I gave you at the beginning? Marianne Williamson said, "Shift. The miracle is a shift of perception from fear to love. When you give love without the fear of wanting to get it from somewhere else, my God, you have a miraculous life because you just breathe it, you radiate it, and it's wonderful."
Let's say goodbye to Sheena.
Thank you.
She's having to go. Thank you very much for your question.
Thank you so much. And please tune in for the next one. That will be really amazing. We'll have a girl this time, girl guest. Thank you. Richard, do we have more? I believe we're like coming to an end. Since losing on, okay, 3 minutes left. Okay, Tina, I see people and things such a different way. Yes, I can imagine that you would. Thank you for sharing, Tina.
Yeah, me too. Totally agree with you.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I'll tell you, when I lost my grandfather, he came to see me, and he told me, "You just love." Can you imagine? My beloved grandfather, he came to see me and he just said to me, "Just love." Message from the other side.
Yeah. Interesting what Natalie is saying here. It's understandable that you would feel sad, because that's kind of the compassionate person that you are inside, and I completely understand that. I guess again it's about what Natalia was saying at the beginning is that you can't control what other people do, and the things in the wider world, and so it's looking at it from a perspective of that everyone is here and they're all having their own experience, they're all having their own lessons, and part of those lessons are unfortunately some of these hard things that we see in the world. And so all you can do is actually change your own perspective towards it, and by being positive and sending love out. I mean, I on regular, I get groups together of spiritually kind of aware and awake people, and one of the things we do every time we meet is we send out love, unconditional love, into the collective, because it has such a massive impact on the rest of the world, so much more than any fear that we see in the world. It has that ripple effect that goes out. So my advice would be just send love out into the world and just be your amazing self.
Well, just for some final words, I mean, I'm just going to say it over and over and over again. The biggest thing is to love and to love unconditionally in the worst of circumstances. Sometimes it's easy to lash out, it's easy to be angry, it's easy to hurt and shout and be nasty. It's not easy to take the high road.
It's not. It is, but that's self-mastery, Natalie. That's when on our spiritual journey, that's what we're working towards. Can I just kind of mention that my book is available on Amazon, it's available on Barnes & Noble in the United States, Waterstones in the UK, and so if anybody would like to kind of have a look and what have you, that's where you can get it.
Definitely. And there is also information, our information, I believe it will be in description, right? If you want to contact us, nataliaph.com, merlinpickston.com, very easy. Just Google us,
Easy,
you'll
easy.
find us on social media anywhere. And also just connect with us. You know, we are all over social media, so we're available. I think, Melvin, thank you for your kind words. Yes, thank you all so much for coming.
Thank
I
you.
think we need to be wrapping up because otherwise Richard is going to kick us out. Thank you.
What amazing questions. This has been so
Yeah,
fantastic.
beautiful questions. What a nice interaction. Thank you, Millie. Thank you so much. And hope to see you in 2 weeks when I come back with my next guest, Jill Harrison, Angel Messenger. And connect with us on social, connect with us through our websites. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Merlin. Thank you all. Love you all unconditionally. Go out there and love, radiate and shine your light.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Absolutely.
you, Claire. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Krish.
Thank you, Krish.
So wonderful. Natalie, thank you so much.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Natalie. That's lovely.
Yes. Oh, it was such a nice show. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you, and see you soon. Love.